Hey YouTube, what's going on? ZeroMagnumX here. So I have an announcement video. In case most of you Vanguard players who are subscribed to the channel did not see, I have a little one now. So Kitmitz 89 and I, we have a little girl. So you will still be seeing content, but I'm just getting that out of the way so everybody understands. Like, they hear squirming or crying or something in the background, that would be why. Most of the time whenever I'm going to make my videos, I'm going to try and see if I can get somebody to help, like babysit and all that good stuff. For you, those of you who don't know, I am poor and thus not on my own, and I rent the basement room from my folks. So I kind of live with them, sort of deal, but I have a job and everything. I'm a successful adult, I just don't make enough to pay a mortgage right now. That should change. If it does, you know, you guys will get announcements and all that junk. Anyway, so that's the first announcement, because this is an announcement video, is that we have a little one. The second thing is we will be introducing a new card game to the channel. I kind of already did. I want to incorporate Forcible as being not a focal point, but like on par with Vanguard from now on. I tried that with Buddy Fight. I can't keep up with Buddy Fight. For everybody who wants the videos, I mean, I really appreciate it. I just cannot keep up with it. I mean, I buy it sporadically. I play here and there. It's on a Saturday usually at the locals I go to, which is like an hour or more away. And that becomes an issue because I work like every Saturday. Like this Saturday, I have like an 11 or 12 hour shift. It'll be like 9:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. is what I'm scheduling for. I work at the restaurant business. That's kind of what happens. I mean, I'm a host, in case anybody wants to know. At least for the time being. So, with that in mind, you know, I can't really keep up with Buddy Fight. I don't have a competitive scene. Tournaments don't fire off regularly. However, if we get enough of a showing, Forcible is going to get a competitive scene. It has a larger following than Buddy Fight already. And I used to play Kaijudo a lot. It used to be my main card game. It's why like Vanguard kind of took a back seat, and then I moved on and played Kaijudo for a long time. I also play Magic and other card games as well, as you can tell from the videos. Vanguard will not be depreciated on the channel. Simply put, right now I have zero interest in Vanguard because it's all Aquaforce and you know, other weird decks. I have like Revengers, and we worked on an Alt Mile deck and other things like that. So I mean, we have competitive decks. With Kitmitz recovering, we haven't had a chance to put up Vanguard battles. That's why you haven't seen video content. I've been she's with her parents right now, so she has like full care. Both her grandparents are very close in proximity to where she's at, so if she needs something, she can call and they can be there in like 5 minutes. So she's at a safe spot, if you will, right now while she's recovering, and then whenever she is recovered and everything else, we will be recording. So I just figured I'd let you guys know. I try not to get too personal with the channel, but these are personal updates that directly affect the channel and uploading content. So I'm giving you guys a little bit of insight to help. I mean, generally speaking, I want to be a content creator for everybody. And that's what I want to be focused as. That's what I want to be looked as. I mean, I'm a nice content creator. I'll talk to you guys in comments and everything. But I wanted to make sure I get everything out of the way so you know why I haven't updated content. It's not because I'm lazy, it's not because I don't want to, it's because I'm busy with a newborn and work and plowing back and forth, and I can't make Vanguard games if Kitmitz isn't here for us to play them. And no one in my general area plays Vanguard. Everybody that I play Vanguard with lives an hour or more away. I mean, that's kind of the same thing with Forcible, but with Forcible I can do more deck profiles, I can talk strategy in that game. Vanguard to me is a linear game, and I love it. Okay, do not get me wrong, I love Vanguard. I mean, I made the channel specifically dedicated to it for a while with like backup TCGs. However, I can't talk much for strategy. Like, I can do my card fight clan discussion videos, if I have like most of the clan pieces, lay them out, and I know the clan. Which for the most part I've done that. And then whenever I get like an idea, those are made on a whim, which I apologize for. It's just like if I have the clan pieces and they're laying around, I make one. That's my big secret. It's not really that difficult. And I talk about them. I talk a little bit about the history for newer players that are getting into the game. And that's what they're created for. They're more toward newer players than those of us who like know how a clan has worked. All the stuff I talk about in those videos, older players who've played like me since the game started are going to be like, yeah, we know how this works. Why are you telling us? Whereas new players are going to be like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that, you know. And that's kind of what they're geared toward. And if you're an experienced player that enjoys them, thank you. I appreciate that. For being, you know, not part of the target audience, but, you know, still enjoying my content. I always appreciate that. With Forcible, I can do what I did with Yu-Gi-Oh! Way back, which is really talk about card strategy, talk about tactics, talk about different interactions. I can make 3-part videos for a match. You know what I mean? So I can record 3 videos and then upload one, like, you know, and then another, like, by day. And you guys will have something a little bit more solid to watch than when's the next Vanguard video coming up. Okay, and now that's my like 6-7 minutes of announcements. Now we're going to talk a little bit more boldly about Forcible. So if anybody was just interested in announcements, this is where you can cut off. For those of you who are interested in Forcible, stay tuned. Just letting you know that I've been kind of making breaks because I try to record these the whole way through. So then that way, okay, well, this is just what he said. That's what I want to know. This is where we're at. For those of you who are interested in a new card game, stay tuned. Those who are interested in, you know, have the ability to afford more than one card game, stay tuned. Okay, so this is where we talk about Forcible. Forcible is an incredible game. I play Kaijito wholeheartedly, and I absolutely love it. It died, and I don't mean loved. I still love Kaijito. It's still a fantastic game. I don't get a chance to play it really. All our cards are in binders and everything. And I like Magic. I am not one of those guys who's like, oh my gosh, Magic is the best game ever, period. No, it is not. It has a lot of flaws for being a competitive card game player. And I really hate those flaws. Not being able to play my cards because I don't have a resource is, to me, as a player, personally, the worst thing that can happen in a card game. I mean, there are very few things I hate about TCGs or mechanics or like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that's stupid and oppressive or that's overpowered, blah, blah, blah. But they don't affect me as much as, oh, you don't get to play this card because you don't have the resources required, which means that it hinders you. And that's my connection with Magic. It's why I always played Yu-Gi-Oh! Over it. And then Yu-Gi-Oh! Became stupid and like, hey, it's your first turn. Here's a setup. You can't beat me unless you match me. And there's no mulligan system in Yu-Gi-Oh! And they tried fixing the problem, and it spiraled out of control. It used to take skill, and it doesn't anymore. It's more about, it feels like all the decks are combo decks, or tutor decks anymore. And that's great, that's fine, but that's what killed the Versus system. For those of you out there who played it. Eventually everything tutored for everything. Eventually everybody just had what they needed when they needed it. There wasn't a random element of luck in your draws. There wasn't a way to like fix draws. You just find what you need. And then notice on the forbidden and restriction list, all of those cards are limited for a reason. So, but this isn't a down talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm just saying, like, I used to love that game because it took strategy and skill to play, even though you had a lot of power to it, but it also suffered from power creep. Okay, Force of Will is that beautiful in-between of Magic and Kaijito. It gives you a lot of strategy to play around with. It allows aggressive players to have a way to play a control route in their decks. So if you love aggro and Magic, if you love the mono-red aggressive decks, you can attack creatures in this game. they're called resonators, but you can attack opposing creatures. So the mono red aggressive decks have a way to play a control route that they did not have before. When they're low on resources and they need to make a couple of exchanges or whatever, they can. So that's just one part of like the depth of strategy that Forcible offers. The main decks are still there too. Like you still have the hyper aggressive decks, you have the mid range style decks, you have control. All the deck types are there. The difference in this game is that with rollers, people feel like that they're oppressive, or that they're. Whenever a really good roll, I'm gonna cut off here and talk to explain. When a really good roller is printed, everybody plays it. Right now, it's Reflect and Refrain. It's a Planeswalker for those who play Magic in roller form, which a roller is like a commander, but it doesn't cost more to do things, and it has a little bit different of a rule set. But in short, it's a commander, and is the way you make mana in the game. Like you don't play lands. You have a stone deck. You tap your roller to make a stone or rest it in this game. So the game is solid. The reason I picked it up is because I miss Kaijudo and I like Magic. And this game is like the perfect kind of child between the two, if you will. It fixed the problems Kaijudo had, and it fixes the problems Magic had. As fun as the Shield Blast system was for Kaijudo, some of the Shield Blasts got a little bit absurd. However, they needed to be at the right power level or you would die. So you ended up in this interesting, problematic situation where if you didn't have the right Shield Blast, it could mean you lost. In Forcible, that doesn't happen. You play with a life point system. Everything can block, everything can attack. You don't get screwed over by your mana, if you will, or your stones, or will, whatever you want to call it in this game. And it has a lot of positives that has just drawn me to it. I also feel like I'm playing, powerful Magic, if you will. Like if anybody knows how it feels to play like the old standard decks that had raw power. Like, I remember this Legacy deck, or this deck that isn't Legacy now, but man, when it was in Standard, you could play these 20 different cards, and it was great, and everybody loved it. It wasn't as stupid as it was in Legacy, that kind of thing. Like, Brainstorm in Standard with, these other cool cards and stuff like that. That is where Forcible is right now. It is a powerhouse game right now, and it has a lot of promise. I mean, but it's not like we have Power 9. It's not like you have these ridiculous strong cards that just overtake games that, like the silly lands that just like, I produce like 80 mana on a turn. There's nothing like that, thankfully. They've been very particular on how they've worked ramp into the game. It's very subtle, it's very specific, which is good. And like a lot of it's creature based. I think there's only a couple, maybe one spell, maybe two that ramp you. The rest are creatures, are resonators. So like two of them make mana, and the other one flips the top card of your deck. If it's a green stone or wind, if you will, it has to be a wind stone. You can put it onto the stone area. Okay, so it's not like you can just go and be like, I find this particular stone in my deck and put it on the battlefield. They are very careful with their resource system, but as they should be. I mean, Forcible is a faster paced game. Decks can kill consistently on turn 4, turn 5. Not from like combo or something like that, I just mean from battle. Like you have like good 1-drops, 2-drops, 3-drops, like curves are nice. That being said, control still keeps up with it. I mean, it's a faster paced Magic, and it feels great to play. So that's why I've taken a dive into it. And I think if you haven't tried it, you should. Don't buy the Valhalla trial decks. In fact, Forcible Company has been really gracious that they printed out, or they made semi-competitive intro decks. I'm not joking. Like, these are a level above structure decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of them look like decks people might take to tournaments. Not in the current one, but like last format when people were tinkering and figuring out deck lists, you would see some of these decks almost identical that people were playing. Maybe like save like 4 or 5 cards. So given that you can pick up a deck and you can have something somewhat competitive for probably like $20 is pretty good. So anyway, also boxes are super value. If you haven't checked out my box opening videos, please do. I spent a cheap amount on my boxes because I'm partnered, thankfully. But they're not that expensive to begin with for Forcible boxes. I don't think they run like $100 a piece, unless that's like full-blown retail. But they give back. Like, I mean, if you, like, I pulled a very good card that was worth a lot of money, traded that off, and I'm getting a lot of stuff to deck build with. So it's that kind of thing. Like, you can pull well in this game and do pretty well by just buying a box. I mean, I did. If you want to check the box opening videos, please do. Anyway, I'm not trying to rant or anything. Like I said, this is why I'm incorporating Forcible. It's a fun game. I can talk strategy more than I could in Vanguard. Like, Vanguard strategy in my mind is linear, like I said. It's like this, and it kind of goes like this, and it goes like this. Forcible, like, has all these, like, you know, branches you can go to, and all these different routes you can take. And that's more exciting to me as a player. That's how Yu-Gi-Oh! Used to be, until, like, plant format happened, and then the dragon format and all those things, and then it started kind of going like this itself. I mean, plant format was pretty diverse, but if everybody was just still playing the same deck. You won't often have that in Forcible. I mean, part of a card game is people do unlock the puzzle the best I can play it. If you still want to be that rogue player, Forcible isn't the game for you because, I mean, but I should say if you want to be that true rogue casual player, don't play card games. And I'm not saying that to be rude or beat you up, but being a rogue player won't win you a major tournament. It may win you locals. And that's cool. If that's all your scene is, then please go be that rogue player. But it's very difficult to take a rogue deck into a major tournament with an established meta and win. And the only person I've ever seen do it is and create a brand new deck is a former teammate of mine, Rajenku, because that guy is incredible with TCGs, and he did it in Kaijudo. Kaijudo was the place to brew. That's why I missed that game a lot, because they made it so that one deck wasn't completely linear. Or they tried to make it so that the meta was diverse. And they did it because with Shield Blast and with all the variety of options, you could make the most interesting decks. And you could stick to color and strategy more than you could like in Magic and other games. So in that sense, but that game didn't last long, unfortunately. Which still sucks. But Force of Will is, especially for those who play Kaijudo, for those who are sick of like Yu-Gi-Oh!, for those who hate Mana Screw and Magic, try this game out if you've stuck with me this long. I mean, I've spent a good almost 12 minutes talking about it for the second half of this video being a rant and everything, but that's because I wholeheartedly want to express that the game is good. Please play it. I'm sorry this video was extra long. I will get into more detail whenever I start posting Forcible videos, but I'm trying to whet your appetite for those who are like me, tired of Mana Screw, tired of power creep, or are those who need a game that has a little bit more flux to it and less, linear gameplay. Alright, YouTube, thanks for watching this video. If you have, I hope you stay tuned for additional content. It will be posted in the near future. Just busy this week. I mean, I have to work tonight still. In fact, check time. Yeah, I have to get ready in about an hour for work, so I took time to post this video, and I'm busy, and I apologize for that. But expect Forcible to be kind of on par with Vanguard. A lot more of it's going to be off-screen than on-screen, and then whenever we figure out those fine-tuned decks that are going to be fun to watch, we'll put up games. I will be making deck profiles and everything else coming up here soon. So thank you everybody who subscribed to me. I'm sorry that the channel is a little bit slower right now because of my life events, and hopefully you've stuck with me, and I appreciate every single one of you for enjoying the channel, and thank you. Without you, I wouldn't be here. Alright, peace YouTube, and have a good one. Later everybody.